Hi, hello. We're here for another video. I don't know what it is, I'm just kind of feeling motivated to film right now. I keep procrastinating doing work and avoiding it, but no. Either way, I wanted to film, so we're gonna film. You could say that this is a lazy idea, and it is. It kind of is, I suppose. But what we're gonna do today is I found a link to, I believe it's called, what is it called? Let me just go double check. 200 deep questions to ask if you really want to get to know someone. Got this idea from Jaclyn Glenn. If you don't know who she is, she does predominantly, well, she began predominantly doing videos on her atheism and making fun of ridiculous Christians. Not all Christians, by the way, just the ones that are prejudiced and hateful towards groups of people. So yeah, I binged watched a bunch of her videos recently, and she did one where she found a thing that asks deeper questions and you just go through and answer as many as you can. So I've stolen that idea from her. She'll never know I exist, but thanks, Jaclyn. I'll put a link below to the exact website I'm using for this. Obviously I don't take credit for the questions. I'm coming into these questions not knowing what most of them are, bar the first 3 that I can see on the page now. But yeah, should we just get into it? It's been a while since I did the like 50 facts about me video, so I kind of just thought why not do another video that's more like get to know me style after this long again. You know, because those kinds of videos are good. Sometimes you want a means of getting a deeper connection with someone you watch on YouTube. So if anyone cares about that with me, that's what this video is gonna do for you. So if I'm looking down, I'll be looking at my laptop that has the questions on. But let's just begin. Question number 1 is, what's your philosophy in life? That is that's quite vague. You know, philosophy is a broad subject, and does it mean like philosophy in terms of like, you know, I don't know, I've never studied philosophy myself, but I don't know whether it means that sort of thing or if it just means like a vague, what's your sort of mantra through life, like how do you conduct yourself and why do you choose to hold such morals and whatever else. I don't know whether they mean that sort of thing or something specifically philosophy based. God. I don't know. Just to kind of answer it as vaguely as I can with my understanding, I just try to live in such a way that I strive for happiness, I strive for, you know, just feeling personally fulfilled, I strive for finding connections with people, like friends, and, you know, getting to know people, learning from their life and their story, but also like, I kind of believe if there's anything people can do to better the world as a whole, and like, you know, do your bit to help people, then I feel like we should do that. Obviously there's a degree to which you should look after your own self first, because you are the centre of your own life. In your life you are the main character. So if you're not looking after yourself, then that's just very counterproductive. But then outside of that, people should do what they can to help others. Whether that be like those less fortunate or the friends and family in your life that might be suffering, doing what you can to help and support those people. Whether it be like donating to charities and things like that. Anything that you can do that benefits the good of humanity as a whole, I feel like people should do that. But if you yourself are going through a whole lot of suffering just as you are, then I do believe that you should focus on yourself first, you know, deal with things within you before you can help people outside of that. I'm going to try not to ramble too much for every question, and we're definitely not going to get through 200 because then this video will just be excessively long, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. I'll try not to be filming for like hours, but yeah, if this video turns out that I only do say 20 of the questions, then if you like this, let me know and I can go through the rest in this list if you want. Interaction! Question number 2 says, what's the one thing you would like to change about yourself? God, this is tricky. I honestly, can I just say not have any mental illnesses? Can I say that? Of course, if it were possible to just remove the depression, anxiety and food issues I've had for years, if I could change that about myself, then I would, because I feel like that would allow me to be a more happy, fulfilled person. Like I said before, that's kind of a goal in life, but that's also not possible. And there are things that are possible to change about yourself. Once upon a time, back in like primary school, because I went to a Christian church primary school, Church of England. Back then, it wasn't indoctrination, it was just a school. We weren't necessarily super religious, but it was one of the best schools in my area, so we ended up going there. We went to church like on occasion throughout my early childhood. But basically what I'm getting out of this is, I was of the mind when I was a lot younger that if there's a God made us exactly the way we are, and we should be thankful for everything that we are and trust that this is the way we're supposed to be, and we shouldn't want to change ourselves because of that. As a very young, naive human who grew up in a Church of England primary school, which is between the ages of 4 to 11, if you didn't know, in England. That's how I used to think. And that's not to say that, like, as a kid I was, like, transphobic or anything. I just did not understand any of these matters at all. Like, if you would have asked me as a kid if transgender people and everything, that's a completely separate topic to the way that I was thinking about this. I was more thinking about this, like, not understanding as a kid why anyone would ever get plastic surgery, because they're made the way that they are as a human and they should just accept that and accept the course of aging because that's the way God intended it. That was nothing to do with people who were transgender. I first off didn't wasn't educated, as children aren't, but like that to my understanding, I fully accepted people who wanted to be a different gender. Like I don't know if I've said in a video before, but even as a kid I remember vividly being in my living room with my parents and like maybe my parents' friends and maybe other friends and being like, I wish I was a boy, I want to be a boy. One day I think I'll get a sex change because boys and men are always musclier and I just think that would be better. That's something I genuinely said as a kid, obviously naively not understanding what all of that truly meant, and it was probably like a funny quirky little thing that little Fionn said in her football shirt and her tomboyish behaviours. But yeah, that just goes to show you that I had no issues with any of that. It was just more so a mindset of like plastic surgery and things like that. But nowadays I'm like, if you have a certain thing about yourself that makes your life worse and you just don't like it, like if something on your face bothers you, I don't see an issue with fixing that, like each to their own. Do I think it's a good thing when certain people out there get like loads and loads and loads of surgeries and completely change how they look? No, because I feel like that's got to be some sort of psychological issue, and it can, even if it wasn't already, it can turn into a psychological issue because you're then changing everything about how you look instead of being accepting of yourself and throwing lots of money at something that probably isn't necessary, you know? I don't know. It's a very tricky topic and I don't mean to offend anybody. I hope I haven't said anything that offends anyone because I don't have any ill will to anyone that wants to do any of those sorts of things. I don't have a thorough education on plastic surgery or people who are transgender, but I fully accept both. I fully accept anyone doing what will make them happier. That's the main thing with that. And then question number 3 says, are you religious or spiritual? If it can only be an either or, I'm kind of neither, you know? I'm not very spiritual or religious. Like I said, I grew up in a Church of England primary school. My aunt is a vicar, I believe, but as I've grown up, I've just not personally really agreed with the whole institution religion. That's not to say that some religious people or types of religion there's anything wrong with them, because there isn't inherently anything wrong with, you know, certain groups of religion, but there's a lot of toxicity there that exists. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one, but I would say neither. Are you religious or spiritual? I just don't really have any of those. Do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert? Can you guess? I'll give you 5 seconds. Pause it. Maybe comment below if you want, and then you'll see if you're right in a minute. I'll wait. Did you guess? Did you get? I'm an introvert. I'm very, very introverted. Very introverted. If you were curious, in the, what's it called, Myers-Briggs personality test thing, I'm an INFP, if you wondered. INFPT. Which parent are you closer to and why? That's a dodgy question. I love both my parents equally, obviously. As you know, if you have 2 healthy parents, then it'd be weird if you loved one over the other. And by healthy parents I mean like parents that are actually good parents, not, you know, because I know a lot of home environments are not the safest, healthiest places because the parents aren't accepting of parts of people's identities, or they're just abusive or neglectful. That's not my situation, so I kind of feel like I love my parents equally. Has one of them been more present throughout my childhood? Yes, but you know, I love them both. I love them both. So I'm just not going to go any further into that, because let's be real, the parent that wasn't as present was the one making sure and working really hard so that we had enough money to live comfortable lives. So I'm thankful for that from their part. Moving on, some of these questions are really touchy and I might end up cutting things out because I'm not sure I'm talking about certain topics in the best way, but I'm just trying to... This is all off the cuff, like I haven't known what most of these questions are. So, what was the best phase in your life? I would say back when I was like 13, 14. So before, you know, mental illness crept in, and when I was doing lots of gymnastics and dancing. I was a very active person, pretty happy, comfortable with food, I'd just eat whatever I wanted, pretty content with myself. I didn't worry too much about a lot of things because it was past the phase of being picked on or bullied by the more popular kids in school, and people were more like, just like tolerant of people that were a little bit different like myself. Around 13, 14 maybe. Yeah, let's say that. What was the worst phase in your life? That's a loaded question. I don't know, because I've had different, like several different separately bad and similar but different phases. Like, of course, my first year of A-levels was terrible because that was the first and only attempt on my life, and the very toxic relationship, mentally abusive, I will now admit, relationship that I was in. That was a very horrible time. And also I wasn't getting the right help. Like that was the last time really that I was properly under mental health services, as in like consistent, like over a span of a longer time-ish, not counting the 2 therapy sessions I had and then the couple months or so I was under crisis team. But that would then be the other probably worst time in my life, is my last year of uni, where I was really struggling, and like I said, ended up being under the crisis team after only 2 sessions of therapy because I just wasn't doing so good. But then there's good things that came out of each of those. Like I turned around my A-levels in my second year, and in my degree I still got my degree despite struggling as much as I did. I got a 2-1 even on my main bachelor's project, so I'm really proud of that, because I was clearly really struggling, like negative behaviours, not eating right, thinking about a bunch of things that I shouldn't have been thinking about. Yeah, wasn't a good time. Let's just move on, because I don't want to think about that too much. Is what you're doing now what you always wanted to do growing up? No. But like, does that happen for a lot of people? Do a lot of people like have a cast iron, like, this is what I want to do when I grow up, and now I'm doing it and it's working out great? Does that happen for a lot of people? Because that's not the way I see it, you know? Like back when I was little or younger, I went through loads of phases of wanting to do different things. Like when I was very little, I was like, I want to be an actor or singer. And then growing up a little bit more, I was like, archaeology, I think that's really cool. I still think it would have been a decent path to have gone down to have done archaeology, but it hasn't happened. That's fine. And then obviously at some point I decided I wanted to do physics and kind of follow in my dad's footsteps a little bit. But then he ended up doing computer science and I sucked at computer science, so I didn't necessarily follow the same path as him. Now I'm doing psychology, which kind of came out of nowhere. At some point I definitely want to do a video, by the way, on what the hell happened for me to go from doing physics as a career path, switching that to psychology. Because I don't know if that would be interesting for some of you, for me to delve into more why that happened and like how that can happen easily for a lot of other people, and it's totally okay. But yeah, basically I've never really fully known what I wanted to do. That's been one of the biggest issues in my life, is not knowing what I'm passionate about and what I want to do long term as a goal. Yeah. That's never been a thing that I have known, and it's switched up and changed a bunch of times. So I didn't know that I would be doing a psychology master's at home online part-time when I was younger. I never thought of that as a dream, but it's happening and I'm quite happy with it for the most part. It's difficult as a mentally ill person, but I feel like I'm on a decent track now, I suppose. But that wasn't what I was thinking of when I was younger. What makes you feel accomplished? I don't know. That's hard. I struggle to feel accomplished and like satisfied with, you know, things that I'm doing. Like, okay, I feel accomplished that I completed my physics degree, like I said before. and that I came out with a decent grade-ish. But does that make me feel accomplished? I don't know. I accomplished a thing. Do I feel accomplished as a person? No. I don't know. I just, like I said, I find it hard to see successes in myself. If my laptop dies, then this video ends impromptu, but here we are. Question 10. What's your favourite book / movie of all time, and why did it speak to you so much? I really love the Marvel films, but that's because they're so well done, and like the CG is so amazing quality. It's entertaining. They do the whole superhero thing, but they make it funny and interesting and not just like outlandish. In terms of books, I haven't read a ton of books in my time. My laptop charges downstairs, so I wouldn't be able to charge my laptop. What am I thinking? What if I... Okay, hang on. There we go. I'll try doing this and see if it preserves my laptop battery for slightly longer. What was it? Favourite book or movie of all time? Favourite movie of all time, that's gonna annoy me. I'll put it here. Like I said, I really enjoyed Marvel films. Books. What books have I really enjoyed? As a kid, my favourite books were the series of Unfortunate Event books. I read all 13 of those and loved them. Probably read them like a couple times over, all of them. My mum just got back from a walk. Books. I don't know. Oh, there's a book on anthropothology by Sue Black. I really loved that book, and that kind of links to my whole fascination with not necessarily archaeology, but like death and like the process of like the people that put that it is their career to find out what happened to someone, and like in cases of John Doe's or Jane Doe's where they don't know who the body is that they found, like the ways in which they try to form a picture of who that person was. I just find that incredibly fascinating. So yeah, Sue Black's book. I'll put a picture up because I can't remember the title, and the book's packed in a box under my bed, so I can't really get it out to show you, but that's probably one of my favourites for sure. That's all I can think of right now. What is a relationship deal breaker for you? Well, back with my ex, it was just a lack of respect and just the toxicity of it all. That was a deal breaker. If a person starts displaying behaviours that are toxic, then that's a deal breaker. Cheating, I would say, in monogamous relationships. Obviously, even in poly relationships, there can be cheating because it's all about the communication and the terms of the relationship between two people. Like if two people agree that they are with only each other, then if someone goes and engages in some sort of relationship with somebody else, then that's cheating. That's not okay. In a poly relationship, I suppose cheating must occur if there's like miscommunication on the terms and somebody does something with someone that wasn't okay in the terms of the relationship. Things like that, that's a deal breaker. Lies? But like, well, any lies aren't good because then you don't know if you can trust a person properly. But especially like big lies from like long-standing lies, I suppose, are a thing. Like a lot of cases of cheating, I know people say the relationship could have been saved if the cheating was admitted to early on. Then they could have worked through that, but it's the fact that they hid that and kept it from their spouse for a prolonged amount of time, lied about it to their face, then it just calls into question the whole relationship and two people can't trust each other anymore. So yeah, lies, cheating, major toxicity, or kind of any form of abuse, those are deal breakers. Are you more into looks or brains? Well, I don't know, that's a weird question, because like, does brains mean like intelligence? Because even people who are, maybe not to sound rude or anything, but are of lesser intelligence, say that maybe they don't have a very scientific mind, or maybe their common sense is lacking or whatever. That doesn't mean they're not like good people to have a relationship with. But I suppose just putting it blankly, looks or brains, I'd say brains, because looks would be a bit of a shallow answer, wouldn't it? And that wouldn't be my answer. If someone was beautiful but they were an arsehole, no. Would you ever take someone back you cheated? My gut reaction is no, but I feel like it's hard to speak on something like that if you've not been in the situation. Like, people are inclined to give one chance and forgive something and try to work through the relationship if there have been issues. But in my mind, like I say, my gut reaction is that is a betrayal of trust, and once that's happened, how can you go on trusting someone who's done that to you? So I'm inclined to say no, but I wouldn't know for sure, because it's not necessarily seriously happened to me. How do you feel about sharing your password with your partner? I don't mind it. I mean, for a while I knew my boyfriend's password to his phone. Not that I ever looked at it without his permission. I don't know whether well, he's known my phone password too, but like, okay, so the long and short of it is, I don't really care, but I also believe that two people should be allowed their own privacy, because you just need to keep things that are just for you as well. I don't know. When do you think a person is ready for marriage? I don't know. There's a very tricky one, because a lot of the people that I know in my life, if they're not currently divorced, have had divorces, and messy ones at that, and that makes me question the institution of marriage as a whole. But obviously growing up, I've always thought, you know, one day I'll probably get married to someone if I know I really, really love them and think, you know, this is the person I want to be with for the rest of my life, then that's when we would choose to get married. So I guess that vaguely shows you what it is. You have to be, I guess, old enough to know what you're doing, and also secure in a relationship and committed to a relationship, and know that the other person is equally as committed. Because if you're just going to get married only to later down the line end up divorcing, then it kind of, what's the point? Because I've seen the kind of pain that people have gone through divorces, and that just doesn't sound nice. So yeah. What kind of parent do you think you will be? Sorry, I need to shift because my feet hurt. Hopefully one like my parents have been to me, you know? Just loving and supporting and understanding. Yeah. A parent like the parents that I have. What would you do if your parents didn't like your partner? That's a tricky one. Because if you're an adult and you know that your relationship with your partner is healthy and you love them and you want to be with them, then as an adult you've got every right to pursue that, even if for some reason your parents didn't like them. But in my case, I would be inclined to listen to what my parents are saying and like hear them out, try to understand anyway why they feel that way. And because I feel like my parents are good judges of character, and if they didn't like someone, then does that mean that there's something wrong with their character, you know? I don't know. Who is that one person you can talk to about just anything? My boyfriend, pretty much, anyway. There's a lot of things that I struggle to talk and think about with myself, but for the most part we're pretty honest and communicative and trusting of each other, so we would talk about anything. Do you usually stay friends with your exes? I don't have many, but in terms of the one really significant relationship I've had, no, we are not friends. We're civil, we've communicated, but we're not friends because of everything that happened. But I would honestly say if like a relationship ended on good terms, both parties were like, okay, there's no hard feelings, it just isn't working out, then I don't see any issue with remaining friends in that kind of scenario. Have you ever lost someone close to you? Is it crazy to say my cat? I really, really loved my cat, Anthe, and obviously the other cat, Eva, too. Oh, my laptop died. I'll try and get the questions up on my phone to keep going if you want. But yeah, my cat. My nan died also, but that was more so a painful experience because of how it affected my mum, because they were my mum's mum. But we weren't super close, me and her specifically. Let me find the questions on my phone for you. How do I do this? Where is it? 200 deep questions if you really want to get to know someone. Thought catalogue. Where was I? I think I was at question 18, so I'll just scroll till I find it. Oh no, I was on question 20. Now I'm on question 21. If you are in a bad mood, do you prefer to be left alone or have someone to cheer you up? Depends. Again, depends on the kind of bad mood. Yeah, I don't know. Some kinds of moods, when you're just feeling really shit and tired from social interaction or whatever, then you just want to be by yourself and do things that make me personally feel comforted. But some bad moods, you just want someone else to be there to tell you it's all going to be okay and to like make you food and coffee and stuff. Clearly this video is going on for too long, but I'll do like 5 more questions maybe, and then I'll end the video. What's an ideal weekend for you? Restful? It's been COVID, so it's like there's been no opportunity to go out, but even before that I've not really had the kind of friends that wanted to go out with me, or I've been comfortable like going out to clubs or the pub and stuff much. I don't know. What do you think of best friends of the opposite sex? there's no issue with it. Like, you can be best friends with the opposite sex and there be nothing in it. Not least because there's, you know, it's your sexual orientation. Like, me personally, I'm bi. I have friends of both genders. That doesn't mean I want to have sex with them all. Obviously. I feel like that's a silly question. Do you judge a book by its cover? In terms of books themselves, I guess a lot of people do. Like, you can tell from a cover if it's the sort of thing that would intrigue you. Not necessarily just the cover, but like the title of the book, the vague description of it, like the blurb. Those sorts of things help you know whether you would want to actually read the book. In terms of real life, like people, if that means, do you judge people on appearance? No, I try not to, obviously, because just somehow someone looks does not dictate who they're going to be as a person. So, are you confrontational? No, hate confrontation. When was the last time you broke someone's heart? I mean, I don't feel like I have ever done that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. If you think I have broken your heart, let me know. Would you relocate for love? Maybe? It's hard to think about questions like that because I am currently in a relationship and we will eventually be moving in together soon, and we're going to be in the same kind of area, near enough to the people around here. So it's like not relocation, we're just not doing that. We're staying around a similar kind of location for love. I don't know. Did you ever write a journal? Off and on. I wish I still had, this probably sounds a bit morbid or bleak, but I wish I still had the journal that I was making in 2015, the year that things were like really bad, but way back. Because that year I was trying to start write something in a journal every day for a year, 365 days of journal entries. But obviously things happened and I didn't want to be here through that, so that journal kind of stopped at some point, and I, at some point later on, felt like I just didn't want to keep that in my life, so I think I must have ripped it up and put it in the bin. But now I would be intrigued to know what I was sort of writing about and what my brain was doing at the time, but I no longer have that. What are you most thankful for? The people in my life that I love, that make me feel happy and safe and supported and stuff. Those people. Do you believe in second chances? Depends on the circumstance. In some cases, no. Like, if somebody fucks up really bad, get rid of them. They don't deserve a second chance. You don't deserve to be treated in such a way that, you know, those things have been done to you, and certain things just can't be forgiven. So yeah, it depends. What's the one thing that people always misunderstand about you? I don't know. I should do. This has just made me think. Because I don't really know what people think about me much, because it's a touchy thing to touch on. I haven't in the past just wanted to confront that matter because I was always just afraid of everyone hating me. But I'd be interested to see who and what people think I am, like what their impression of me is, and to talk about whether that's correct or not. So do the assumptions tag thing. Let me know if you're into that. If that happens, by the way, that would be on Instagram, because it's sort of the easiest place to collect responses for that. So follow me on Instagram and let me know if you want me to do like the assumptions tag thing. I'd be interested. I'd be interested to know what people thought about me. Yeah. I said only 5 more. I'll do a couple more and then I'll finish. This is kind of addictive. What's your idea of a perfect vacation? Being somewhere cool with people I love and having a fun time, as a vague sense. Would it be cool if it had a beach and nice warm weather and fun activities to go do in a cool country? Yes. Would it also be cool if it was like really cold but there was like historical landmarks to go explore, or cool old timey cities to walk around and see if they've got little knickknacks to buy? That'd also be good. What did your past relationship teach you? Okay, we'll finish on number 33, which is, what did your past relationship teach you? That you should be careful in relationships, because people can say all of the right things in the beginning and make you feel like they have pure intentions, and they will not necessarily. Like, you can't always trust first impressions. Definitely don't always trust first impressions, because some people will be a certain way in order to lure you in, and they won't always treat you right from then on after they've secured you. I'd also say just to not put up with poor treatment, to know that you deserve better than that, basically. Nobody deserves to be treated poorly and like psychologically messed with. Yeah, that's what my last relationship taught. Okay, I'll end the video now because I feel like it's going to be too long at this point, because obviously there's 200 questions there. I went through 33, but I ramble sometimes, so apologies for that. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, let me know any of your responses to things I asked in this video. Let me know if this has given you any ideas for future videos you want me to do, like the assumptions tag, and why I went from physics to psychology. Yeah, other than that, I love you guys very much. Thank you for watching and having any interest in me. Thank you for any support that you provide. I hope you would like, comment and subscribe. All those things help me a lot. My nose. Yes, all those things help me a large amount, so thank you very much if you do it, and I'll see you in the next one, I guess. Yeah, make it like a cozy corner. What do I do with this? Do I trust that this is fine? I know you can see that, so you should surely be able to see my head. And yet I am unsure.